But we begin with President Biden facing new questions about his handling of classified documents. The president's lawyers say they found additional documents with classified markings in his garage in Delaware. Earlier, President Biden told reporters he is cooperating fully.
I'm going to get a chance to speak on all this, God willing, soon. But as I said earlier this week, people, and by the way, my Corvette's in a locked garage, okay? So it's not like you're sitting out in the street. The Department of Justice was immediately, as was done, the Department of Justice was immediately notified, and the lawyers arranged for the Department of Justice to take possession of the document.
I want to bring in Chief Justice Correspondent Pierre Thomas, along with White House Correspondent Mary Alice Parks for more on this. Pierre, what's the latest on these documents, and where could this go?
Well, again, the bottom line is this new information that this second batch of classified documents were discovered in the president's garage. And I emphasize that word again, garage. Now, there are very strict guidelines in terms of how classified materials are supposed to be handled. Number one, they're supposed to be in government spaces. They're supposed to be under strict guidelines, sometimes to include spaces where there's surveillance cameras locked in on them, in certain kinds of safes. All these things are put forth by the Intelligence Division, the National Office of Intelligence. And so this is not an insignificant matter. First of all, these documents were supposed to be stored, and the fact that they apparently have been out of place for 6 years is significant. Now, we just gotten some word that the Attorney General is going to hold a press conference this afternoon around 1:15 Eastern. The expectation is that he will address this issue in some fashion. We know that the investigation is entering its final stages, that a lot of this work has been done. But this new revelation may have tipped the scales to the point where the Attorney General feels that he needs to speak to this issue.
Now, Mary Alice, how big of a political headache is this for the president, especially as former President Trump faces his own investigation related to classified documents?
Yeah, Dan, I think the key word there was political in your question. You know, the White House is trying so hard to say that when it comes to any legal question, when it comes to proper handling of documents, they're trying to say they did the right thing as soon as they found these documents. You heard the president there underscore what was in the White House's own statement, that as soon as these documents were found, they reached out to the Department of Justice. They reached out to the National Archives. They worked with them to properly return them and to be transparent about what they had found. I'm not sure that any of that will matter to Republicans who are going to say, look, this is a case of everyone making mistakes. This is more common than Democrats had previously said. We've already seen Republicans trying to sort of draw comparisons and some contrast between what happened with President Biden and what happened with former President Trump. Of course, Democrats and legal experts will say what happened with former President Trump and those documents at Mar-a-Lago was very different in that they didn't return those documents back over when they were asked repeatedly from the Department of Justice to turn things back over. Nonetheless, I think Republicans are just going to continue to pounce on these headlines around President Biden, and it will absolutely be a political headache for this White House.
Mary Alice, the House Oversight Committee already said it's also investigating this issue. Could this whole situation hamper the president's ability to work with House Republicans on legislative issues?
Oh, absolutely. If they take more time working on investigations that the White House views as inappropriate or they have a lot of back and forth with turning things over or not, it could make it really hard for the White House to get Republicans to vote on essential legislation. It could just sour a relationship that's already very tough. You know, I will say that this White House was expecting tough investigations from House Republicans. I think this is just adding to a long list. Diane.
Where do both of these investigations go from here? The one at the Justice Department and also the one with the House Oversight Committee?
Yeah, I think the first question is the one that Pierre was talking about. We have to see if the Department of Justice is going to appoint a special counsel to look specifically into this matter. You know, it's hard to know. It's hard to say right now what their thinking is. On the one hand, if it's true that the White House and the Biden team was extremely transparent here, then maybe the Department of Justice doesn't feel like that's necessary. But if they feel like there was any moment where the president was involved or that something was kept, you know, more secret or more quiet, there's any indication investigation of that, then I think it's really possible the Department of Justice decides a special counsel, an outsider, is necessary to make sure that this is transparent, that it doesn't have the appearance of in any way being political. So I think that's kind of the first question in terms of the DOJ's investigation. And then we're hearing from House Republicans, they're already demanding that the Director of National Intelligence do a damage assessment and send them more information, Diane.
All right, Mary Alice Parks, thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.